York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a great Tuesday morning to you. I am Gary Sutton. We're at 6:05 for the 7th of October, 2025. It is 61 degrees here on Brooks Robinson Plaza this morning, right here at Wellspan Park, where it is the home of the Atlantic League champion York Revolution. That's exactly right. And by the way, I do want to mention right out of the gate, there is a championship celebration tomorrow night. All right, and it starts at 5:30. And it's a toast to the back-to-back titles. It's a photo op with the championship trophy, so you could, be right there, get your pictures taken with the championship trophy. You can watch the 2025 playoff run highlights. They're going to have that up on the big board tomorrow night. And you can have there'll be a question. I'm taking a look at this, a Q&A with Rick Forney, who is the manager of the Revs, as he has won yet another championship here with the Revs. But a championship celebration tomorrow night right here at the stadium. It'll be at 5:30, or start at 5:30. And I imagine if you get here a little bit later, you can still drop in and take part in all of that. But get a picture with the championship trophy, watch the 2025 playoff highlights. That'd be kind of fun, right? And also a question and answer with Rick Forney. Darryl Henry will be here doing a lot of that. And could be a lot of fun tomorrow night. And you get a chance to toast the back-to-back titles, right? The fifth title in the history of the Revs since 2007. That all tomorrow night right here at the stadium. So I thought I'd start out with the most important things today. There you go. This show being brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. They have offices throughout Pennsylvania and Maryland. They have more than 130-plus attorneys dealing in more than 29 different areas of concentration when it comes to business that you have. They provide innovative and effective representation to a wide range of clients across that 29-area field. And they distinguish themselves by focusing on excellent client service, a true commitment to the community, and a reputation for results. So that last part, really important. They get a reputation for results. They get it done. Check them out right now at barley.com. Here in New York, they're at 100 East Market Street. You can call them at 717-846-8888. And they're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So welcome in this morning to the Gary Sutton Show. I've decided I'm not going to root for any teams anymore.
Why is that?
Well, the disappointment has just built up so badly. I'm an Orioles fan, not so good this year. Ravens fan, not so good this year. Kind of a Phillies fan sometimes. They're 0-2 going to Los Angeles now after losing last night.
Yeah. Penn State.
Who else? Penn State. Total disappointment. And so I thought, there are more important things in the world, like playing golf. No. I may have misplaced my priorities there. No, there's more important things in the world. I'm going to do things over which I have control. And so golf is the one area I have control. I played Lancaster Country Club yesterday, where they played the Women's U.S. Open last year. I want to tell you what, I think they were getting ready to play it again this year because the rough out there is insane. I mean, insane. I played my heart out yesterday.
You mean
I was with Sheriff Kuliber again. He and I were in the same cart again. And he played really well. He played very, very well. And we had a couple other guys who also were there who played really well. But Bob Warner was with us, and Paul Ciotti. And we played our hearts out. We finished 8 under, and we were 7th. 16 under won it. And we had some real bombers out there yesterday who could really score. But I'll tell you what. I don't know how many putts we had yesterday that were like 25-foot putts where you hit it like an inch. And I am not exaggerating. I mean, downhill, and you would go by, if you didn't make the putt, you go by like 10, 12 feet.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah, they have, it's those championship greens.
Oh my gosh. And they're great. I mean, they're really great to putt on. They're fantastic. But they have these natural areas, and then they've got these areas of
Natural, you mean overgrown?
Well, yeah, they call them natural areas, which means we didn't want to cut that. No, they're actually...
And they took a lot of trees out.
They did, but I lost 3 balls yesterday where I hit the heck out of them. When I got up there and I couldn't find them. I never lose balls on a golf course. So I want to do things that frustrate me that I have control over.
So the GoFundMe for Gary Sutton's ball fund.
Self-imposed, yeah. So anyway, I'm leaving the same question up I had yesterday, by the way. And that was, with Congress shutting down federal government, President Trump doing executive orders right and left, and the court system ruling on policy daily, the question is the system of representative democracy broken, in need of repair, or is it working just fine? What are your thoughts? And I'd like to get a few more in on that. We had 16 people, or 16 comments in on that yesterday, but I still like to see a little bit more. I'm kind of reading those, and I went in this morning and read a bunch of them and checked them off. And so I'd like to hear a few more of those. So we've got that going for us as well. You can text us at 833-478-4729. That's 833-478-4729. Give us your thoughts about the shutdown so far, what you think of that. Yeah, wherever you are. 833-478-4729. Write that down. Maybe, I don't know. Put a paper in your pocket with that number on and say, it's burning a hole. I need to call. I need to text, okay? Don't forget, you can also check our show out again on the YouTube podcast every afternoon, WOYK on YouTube. And Just a Voice on Main Street is my other podcast on YouTube as well, Just a Voice on Main Street. So those are all ways that you can get to us. Let's see what else here. I'm planning on having lunch tomorrow at Yanni's at 310 Town Center Drive. So if you want to join me at Yanni's tomorrow, I will be out there at around 12 o'clock. There at 310. I feel like I'm an air traffic controller. 310. Anyway, 310 Town Center Drive at West Manchester Town Center Shopping Center. There you go. I got that all out. Let's see. We asked you yesterday. I want you to keep this in mind this week. This has to do with kindness. And we pulled this card yesterday. We have these kindness cards. Mm-hmm. Be the good. Show how good you are today. Perform and pass it on. Kindness is free. Pay it forward. KindnessWorldwide.org. And so we pull these cards out. Now, just a reminder every day, be an angel today to someone who needs one. Be an angel today to someone that needs one. And I mention that again because today is National You Matter to Me Day. You matter to me. And you know what? When you think about it, when you think about our basic human want, don't we just want to know that we matter to somebody? I mean, you think of every person. You go by people, or you go by someone who's homeless, or you go by someone who looks like they're a little down in their luck, or someone who's lived hard, or life has been tough to them. Don't they just want to know that they matter? And if you can be an angel today to someone who needs one, maybe that's a way of helping them to know that they matter. Just saying their name, getting to know them. And I was looking yesterday. My wife and I went by a lady who was homeless on Sunday, but she always is at this place every week, just off the, I guess it's the Market Street exit. And she's at the same place every Sunday morning we go to church. And I've dropped her a few bills every now and then. But she had her hair all done up this week. She was all dressed up. She had her clothes with her and so forth, I guess. But she looked like she had spent some time. And, my wife pointed out something. She said, she seems to always have money for cigarettes. She said, I know what it costs to get a hairdo like that because I go to the beautician. And you wonder, and this is the worst part of us. You wonder sometimes, are you being played? Is this the way to earn money? And I've read articles where people have done that. And again, I don't like to think that about people. I don't like, and my wife's the same way, but she said, I'm just raising the question. And my wife is like one of the kindest people in the entire world. So, but we were just talking about that a little bit on Sunday. And, that's the one thing about that kind of stuff. And yet I kind of come around to the point when I give money to somebody, it's on them. That's kind of the way I look at it. People always say, well, they're going to go get booze or they're going to go get drugs. I said, that's on them.
I agree with that.
My way of looking at it is generally, okay, I'm going to help them out. But, the one thing I thought to myself that would be much better if we engage those people in conversation. Sometime pull your car over and go over and just sit down and say, how'd you get here?
So did you ask where she had her hair done?
No, we didn't. We didn't. So, but my wife, because she's a woman, knows all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
She goes, I'm going to tell you what that costs. And so you think, okay, well, and maybe
Right.
she wanted to look more presentable. There's a myriad of reasons. Who knows? Who knows? But
It was given to her. Maybe
That's right.
somebody, treated her.
And see, there's another possibility I hadn't even thought about,
Yeah.
but that's true. So you matter to me day. 24 days to Halloween, by the way. And we have lots of other days, I'm sure, that Mark has perused.
Oh, we sure as heck do.
Go ahead.
All right. So, and in each one, let me maybe just make sure I got the clock in front of me.
Okay. You tend to expound on these things.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to use one of the food ones. We can talk about it after the break.
Oh.
Because it will take some
Tease.
Yeah, you're going to need some details.
Okay, all right.
All right. Let's start from the least to the most. How about LED light day? Now, you don't think about LED lights.
Yeah.
But you know what? The Japanese men who invented the white light, apparently, and then worked from there to get the other colors. It was they won a Nobel Prize for it. It's quite a thing. And now,
Especially at Christmas time.
well, yes, but I mean, we take a look at your phone, take a look at other things. These LED lights are everywhere, and the best thing about them is they save a lot of energy. So, LED light day, think about that. It is National. It's Bathtub Day. When was the last time you took a bath?
I didn't.
You've never taken a bath?
Well, I take a shower at least once every week on Saturday.
At least, right. But I mean, have you ever,
No, I take a
when's the
shower
last
every
time you
day.
took a bath?
I don't. My wife does that every now and then. She
Yeah.
just likes the luxuriousness of just
Sure.
spending some
I
time.
get
But guys, we don't have time for that stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time it happened. And I would say maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Now, the other part would be, when was the last time you took a bath by yourself? That would be, and that could get into a whole another array of things,
Moving on.
Sorry.
It is National Flower Day. Now, why in God's name would it be in October?
I don't know.
I think it's
that's
ridiculous.
Just poor planning, and I think we ought to knock that off the national
I
list.
ought to immediately suspect.
Yes.
But just to
Somebody
let
has
you know,
alternative motives, ulterior motives.
we do not do these things without some investigation.
We do, yeah.
This is a good holiday, I think. National Forgiveness Day.
There it is. Yeah, National Forgiveness Day. And, it's too hard hanging on to grudges. I mean, it really is. After a while, you go, it's just too hard, because I have to remind myself now.
Yeah.
I go, what was it that they did?
And then you start feeling like, well, I've been doing this for how long?
I know.
I should just let it go.
And it takes away a portion of your day where you could be spending time on unbridled happiness.
Bathtub.
Being in a bathtub. Maybe, no, I won't go any further than that. No.
Food holiday, we have two. One, the easier one to explain, is that it's Fruit at Work Day.
Fruit at work.
I've long been a believer of fruit at work.
Does a cinnamon roll count for that?
It does not.
Okay, all right.
But thank you, though.
No problem.
But I have had, I've tried bananas, pears, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. This morning, I had a plum.
You had a plum.
It was so good. It was a very good plum. I like mine a little tart. I don't like
okay. Glad we got that one out there. Yeah.
But now the next food holiday.
And we're going to take a break here.
Yes, because there are three possibilities if you're from New England. So I went to newengland.com.
Does your mom have anything to do with this?
No.
Okay.
But there are three possibilities. So when you're traveling around the world, you can't just ask for one particular version
of this food.
Yes, there are three, and I'm going to tell you about them.
We will get at that when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show. Oh, the important stuff that we hit to start out the day. But having a little fun with you here this morning as you get up and we kind of ease you into the show. This is the Gary Sutton Show, the Tuesday morning edition, the Main Street of York, right here on WOYK. Back after this. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It
You know
is
this
a
guy?
Tuesday morning. John Cougar Mellencamp, I think.
That's correct. It's his birthday today.
There you go.
He is 74. We've got a couple of birthdays days today that we're going to
Can
get
we
this one.
relate to him, by the way.
How so?
From same age.
Oh, great. Simon Cowell. Remember?
Simon Cowell, yeah.
American Idol.
Boy, how many shows he got started?
Yes.
Yeah, he's
probably too many.
Yeah, probably way too many.
He is 66.
It seems like he should be older than that, but he's not.
No, he's not.
Yeah, okay.
It's probably all the stuff they do to him.
Well, and all the stuff he's done, you think it would take a much longer period of time, but not so.
And Vladimir Putin, 73.
Hey, Vladimir, happy birthday.
Yes,
He hasn't done a lot to make the world a better place, huh?
Coming up, we've got other birthdays that I didn't get to in case you are concerned about that. Okay, so
Somebody just texted they want to get an address if they send Vladimir a happy birthday card. So I said,
Yeah.
we don't have that. Also, Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin, Russia.
the last of our football. This
We
is
were
gonna be-
kidding, by the way.
Yes, the last of our food holidays.
Yeah, I want to hear
today
this because you have me intrigued.
Is it's national? Well, this is how it's pronounced in New England.
Go ahead.
It's National Frap Day.
Frap. That's like a coffee kind of thing.
Well, frappe
Yeah.
is, some people
frap
pronounce
in
the E at the end.
Because they wanted to sound a little bit more erudite.
Right. Here's the thing. It's a milkshake.
Right. Okay.
At its core, it is a milkshake.
Got it.
So why don't you just call it a milkshake? That's a good question. And to make matters even stranger, people in very southern New England, including Rhode Island, they don't call it a milkshake or a frap. They call it a cabinet.
Cabinet.
A cabinet.
Where did we come up with that name?
Right. So here's the. This is from NewEngland.com.
This needs an explanation. Yes.
Yes, NewEngland.com. So basically, a milkshake is milk and syrup.
Right.
That's it. No ice cream.
Really.
That's how they are viewing it there.
Yeah.
Now in New England, that's very important because it's not just chocolate like a Hershey syrup or something.
Sure.
It's also could be autocrat coffee syrup. And you might say, well, what the heck is that? Well, most kids in New England don't drink chocolate milk. They drink coffee milk. So it's not actual coffee. It's a coffee syrup. And it's made basically the same way. You just squirt some in and you stir it up. You get it kind of frothy.
Sure.
And it's delicious. Coffee milk. Now, so next is you're putting ice cream in. Your milkshake, when you put ice cream in, that is a frap.
Okay. So the ice cream. So without the ice cream, it's this other stuff.
Milkshake.
It's a milkshake.
Right.
With ice cream,
It's a frap.
it's a frap.
Correct. Now, so where does
Without
that?
ice cream, it's a frap, right?
And this one is kind of funny. So why do they call it a cabinet if it already is called a frap? That's because that's where the blender was kept.
In the cabinet.
Yes.
So this wasn't real deep.
No.
I was getting all ready for this deep answer, and
Well, see, I was too. It's like, I'm going to find out what it is. I've heard cabinet.
Good
I've seen it on the
grief.
signs and stuff, and they're like, what? Where the blender is.
oh, that's interesting. So anyway, hey, I want to tell you about Harvey's Rental. If you're looking to get a new cabinet, for example, maybe they have cabinets down there. I don't know. But if you're looking to get any tools, audiovisual stuff, baby equipment, cement, contractors stuff, costumes, drills, garden and yard things, heaters, household jacks, loading equipment, mechanic stuff, office stuff, painters, party supplies like tents, 20 by 20, 20 by 30 foot tents, car polishers, floor polisher, pumps, rug shampoo, steel equipment, sanders and grinders, saws, signs, streamers and washers, towing stuff, or vacuums. Guess where you go? Harvey's Rental. The most to rent under one roof. I just gave you an example of how many things under one roof they have right there. They're at 717-850-8999. They're open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and they're located right here at 1409 South George Street in New York. Now, I mentioned Harvey's because there are so many different things you need in your life, like garden and yard equipment, party equipment, contractors kind of stuff that you need, air tools. And you say, where do I go? I don't have any of that stuff. You go to Harvey's. See, I'm helping you with the answer to this one. You go to Harvey's, and they'll take care of you, especially as we get into the fall here, and you need some of that steel equipment to take care of blowing leaves away. Maybe you have your lawnmower broke down. Maybe you need to saw some wood. You need to do a whole lot of that kind of stuff. They are a steel elite dealer right down here at Harvey's, and they are ready to help you today. Jen Harvey and all the good people down there are ready to help you, and they're going to be open here in just a few minutes at 7 a.m. So whether you need a blower, a backpack, you need an aerator, maybe a chipper, a log splitter, a slicer, a seeder, a self-propelled kind of thing, they have it right there at Harvey's Rental. Why don't you give them a call today and check them out? They are at 717-850-8999. They're at 1409 South George Street right here in New York. Very easy to get to, and the people there are friendly, and they want to help you today satisfy all the needs that you have, and you maybe don't own all that stuff. Harvey's Rental. They've been around New York here for a long time, and you can give them a call right now and get some help. 717-850-8999. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Harvey's Rental.
So how about some Taylor Swift news?
Okay.
No?
All right, let me gird myself. Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes, here you go.
She was on some late nights last night.
She was.
Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl, is off to a record-shattering start. The pop icon's 12th studio album sold 2.7 million copies in the U.S. in its first day, according to Luminate, breaking her own record for most first-week sales in just 24 hours. Her last album, The Tortured Poets Department, moved 2.61 million units in its first week. Showgirl has now scored the second biggest sales week in modern history since Luminate began tracking in 1991, all in one day. Swift also set a new vinyl record, moving 1.2 million vinyl copies. Her 3-day event film, the official release party of a Showgirl, opened at number 1 at the box office with 34 million. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
See, the thing is, she's creating collectibles. That's why
She is.
it's a layered kind of thing. It's not just the music product, it's the release product, it's the vinyl product, and she's giving
everywhere.
She's giving the fans what they want, and she lets them in a little bit with, you remember when the Paul is dead thing?
Yes.
Back in the 60s.
Play the thing backward.
Yes, it was ridiculous. But, see, she has what they call these Easter eggs.
Right.
And, she includes them in like songs, and there's, little tie-ins.
Yeah.
And if you're a
makes
real
it
fan,
fun to get in there, yeah.
Yes, it does. You can figure it out.
Okay.
Anyway.
When we come back, we will take care of some of the local news, some of the national news, give you some of the headlines, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:30.
the meaning of what happiness is.
That from the musical Cats
It is. A couple of things about that.
with a lot of feedback.
40, well, it's because it was live.
Oh,
43 years ago today, on this date, 1982, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats
Yeah.
opened up on Broadway. And what's interesting about this is that that is Betty Buckley, and a pretty well-known actress. But she, you can tell the, you probably remember the costumes from
Yes.
later editions. So they're not quite like her makeup isn't really that great. And the costume is also not really that great. But that was, right when it had opened and that kind of thing. So, but her voice is amazing. There's the key change. I mean, very strong.
yeah.
Anyway.
I heard that outside our door the other night. Our cat was fighting with another cat. It sounded very much like that. Yeah.
Is that Tuxedo Cat?
Yeah, he was out fighting with this gray cat. We thought they were friends, and they apparently are not.
Oh.
By the way, local stories. Original outlaw Bobby Allen passed away. Bobby Allen, a lot of you who watch local tracks and like going to Williams Grove and all the various tracks around here. Bobby Allen died October 5th, according to a news release from Williams Grove Speedway. He was of Hanover, was 81 years old. His death came one day after he fielded 2 cars in the 63rd Annual National Open at Williams Grove on October 4th. Allen, who was originally from Florida, won 36 sprint car races at the Grove, his first coming on May 23rd, 1969, Mark.
Wow.
And his last on June 2nd, 1989. He was affectionately known as Old Scruffy and the original outlaw for his tendency to suddenly appear at high-dollar races across the nation in an effort to steal the loot in an upset.
Steal the loot.
According to the release that was out there. So Bobby Allen, dead at the age of 81, a name that a lot of people will remember in outlaw racing. I also saw where the district attorney dropped some cases. Remember the 37-year-old York Haven woman who was accused of striking 3 people with her minivan at the Capona Festival in Harrisburg
Yes.
over Labor Day
Yes.
weekend? Well, the charges, DUI and aggravated assault by vehicle while DUI, were dropped against Elizabeth A. Borer because lab tests showed she was not intoxicated.
Ah.
Dauphin County District Attorney Francis Chardo
Interesting.
said that on Monday. Borer waived her preliminary hearing on Monday on other charges, including aggravated assault by vehicle, recklessly endangering another person, and traffic offenses, Chardo said. She remains incarcerated at Dauphin County Prison on $350,000 bail, which apparently she has not yet raised. So, but again, she's not getting off. She's just getting off from a couple of charges there. And here's something. I saw this in the paper this morning. Chi-Chi's. Remember that place?
Love Chi-Chi's.
Chi-Chi's is making a comeback after 20 years. The Chi-Chi's Mexican restaurant, how many people remember that, is making a comeback, and its first location is over 20 years, and over 20 years is slated to open, now you have to go a little bit, to Minnesota. That's where it's opening up this week. The location will be on Monday, this was yesterday, in St. Louis Park, bringing with it a refreshed design as well as some original and new menu items the company announced this week. So Chi-Chi's, at least, is getting started again, and they're starting in Minnesota. We also are going to be talking a little bit today about the state budget, but we'll see what happens with that. But that, by the way, in case you didn't know, we still don't have a state budget.
That might be, sorry to go back to Chi-Chi's, but
Sure.
that might be the first time I think I ever had.
Mexican food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps spread that food and culture across America.
Exactly.
Do you know who founded it?
I did not.
Would you be surprised to know that it was a wide receiver from the Green Bay Packers?
Really? Who was
Yes.
that?
Max McGee.
Oh, Max McGee, number 85.
Yeah, he was in a couple of the this
Super
is back,
Bowl. He was in the original
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
I mean,
Yeah.
today,
I did not know Max McGee started that.
yes.
See, you wow me sometimes. You're just like out there in the horizon, a speck, and I can barely see you, and I'm trying to catch up.
And then all of a sudden, I'm like the outlaw.
Yeah, you
I
are.
come up to steal the loot.
There it is. But you're like Bobby Allen.
I love that.
There it is.
Yes.
By the way, J.D. Pritzker of Illinois is suing President Trump to block the National Guard in Illinois, Texas. Troops are en route right now to those places. Illinois Governor J.D. Pritzker or J.B. Pritzker, excuse me, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson filed a lawsuit Monday to block the Trump administration from deploying hundreds of National Guard troops from Illinois and Texas in Chicago and surrounding cities. The legal challenge is the latest clash between Democratic-led states and the Trump administration over President Donald Trump's so-called federalization of law enforcement, with governors in California, Oregon, and others pursuing similar lawsuits. Also on Monday, President Trump officially called 300 members of the Illinois National Guard into service for 60 days, which he is allowed to do as the chief of state, I guess, but more importantly, as the head commander-in-chief. Yes, he's allowed to do that for 60 days. What we know, state and city leaders are seeking both an emergency restraining order to immediately head off Trump's attempts to deploy the National Guard troops in the state and the longer-term injunctive relief. They claim President Donald Trump plans to use American soldiers to punish his political enemies. That's where they're coming from. Illinois is looking for the courts to find the deployment of the National Guard unconstitutional. And Mark and I talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think what this is eventually going to hinge on, the president can actually invoke something called the Insurrection Act, which was originally there for anyone who's like bringing war against the United States or revolt or that kind of stuff. But what the president's using it for here is saying, well, there are these emergencies and there's a lot of murders going on in Chicago. He called it a hellhole. And it's also a haven for illegal immigration. They're saying there and in Portland, Oregon, and places like that. Got that, Marty. So all of that. And so you have this battle going on. But the question is, what is an emergency kind of situation, Mark? And I think that's where this all hinges in the long run.
Well, and he's done this with other things as well. And there's been some question as to whether, like using, what was it, that law from 17?
Oh, yeah, it was like 1789 or something.
And it's never been used. It's only been used for actual wars. And he's using that to, is that the tariff thing?
It was about the.
I think
I'd have to go back. I remember.
I think that's what he's using it for. So, and some of the suits have identified that, but some of the higher courts, and it might be the Supreme Court, has instead, frustratingly for some, ruled not on the merit of the question. They only rule on the thing that started the.
Well, and
case.
One of the things that happens in these cases, too, and this is really important to understand, is that what negative thing happened to you as a state or as a jurisdiction as a result of this action. And a lot of times when you go to court, people say, well, we're throwing it out because you didn't incur any negative consequence as a result of what that person did. But in this case, I think it really does come down to the question of, the two things. What is an emergency situation, as the president is looking at Chicago and saying that? And number two, who has the right to call that? And for how long? The president knows that as you saw with the National Guard that he used recently, he gets a 60-day limit on that. All right? But the point is, a lot of people are worried about, well, could you then impose martial law whenever you feel like it as one person being the president? And that's bothering a lot of people in terms of the question on that. Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago has signed an ice-free zone executive order prohibiting use of city property for federal immigration operations. But there's another question here that comes out. If not what the president's doing, then what? And again, I'm not suggesting the president is doing everything correctly here, but he's trying to do something. What about what's there now? What are we doing to stop the murders, to stop the, sanctuary cities and all that kind of stuff? Are we doing anything, or are we doing enough? And so where's the in-between point on that, I guess, is what I'm looking
Well,
at.
Pritzker said yesterday, in the little piece that I heard, was that Chicago's like at a 60-year low with murders, even though it would be
Still
higher
pretty
than
high, yeah.
Yes, but if you're going to use this claim of higher, what about the cities and states where there are more murders
Yeah.
per capita?
Yeah.
States like Louisiana and Mississippi and several others, but those are Republican-run states, and he's not sending troops there. So, that's what kind of begs the
does
question
have,
a little
again,
bit.
like everything else,
It
has a
looks
political
like-
tinge.
It looks like that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Interesting.
That's the perception one could come to.
Yes,
looking
absolutely.
At that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's only because what was the first place? You have Chicago,
Well,
you
you
have
had LA,
Portland,
you had
and
LA, California.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's
Right.
choosing states with Democratic governors who are
Right.
unlikely to go along with this, and that creates what would you call that? Chaos?
What's fascinating on this? Years ago, when President Obama was in there, I remember arguing for Arizona, where they wanted to help stop. They wanted to help stop illegals and make sure that they were legal. And President Obama and the Supreme Court at that time fought like crazy to say, hey, this is a federal jurisdiction. This is what the federal government can do. We don't need you to help us
Local
on that.
state.
It's our job.
Yeah.
So here you are now. You're kind of arguing the opposite point in a way. Again, every one of these is a little bit different. But, it is amazing how at that time we fought for the federal government to get in there. Now we're fighting for the federal government to stay the hell out.
I'll give you another weirder one.
Yeah.
Jade Helm. Do you remember that?
Jade Helm.
Jade Helm. That was a huge conspiracy that President Obama was using the military in like some sort of war game in, I think it was Texas. It was
I don't
someplace
even
in the.
remember that.
Oh, look that up.
Yeah.
And it was a big conspiracy, and how he was using the military against, wanted to use them against American citizens. Now, Jade Helm apparently was held like every few years. It was some sort of war game for the military,
Right.
to, improve communications and that kind of thing. So, but, some played it up as to some. Now we've got things that are trying to happen in actual cities, and, many of those people that didn't like Jade Helm are fully supporting this. So it's kind of
Circular?
I don't know. It seems convenient, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think I can hardly believe you'd think a politician would take advantage of a convenient situation.
I'm not just politicians, but it was on this date, and I totally forgot about this. But boy, what does this say about us? It was on this date in 2001, America's longest war
Wow.
began. I didn't see it anywhere in the stuff that we were pulling together, but I just found
Are
it.
they counting it as a Vietnam War?
No, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also on this date, Fox News Channel began broadcasting in 1996.
And then when we come back, pressure is growing on a Virginia Democratic candidate to quit after some text messages. Wait till you hear this story. This is really weird. My sister told me about this yesterday. She lives in Virginia. But we'll get your thought on what you think about this kind of text, and could you forgive somebody for it? That's all straight ahead. And also, Mark Sanchez. We want to keep that story.
Oh, that's right.
That's a strange one, too.
Oh, wow.
All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. That is Cher.
On the deck of a battleship.
On the deck of a battleship, walks out between all the sailors. She doesn't have a lot on again.
No. I mean, thank goodness the jacket's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and what she does is very sheer.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what?
What? Get in trouble.
No need to get into trouble.
Okay, thank you.
No.
It's just we're doing music, bumper music today from 1989.
She was riding a cannon there for a minute.
And I just saw her bumper. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. She's Cher.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, this is an odd story. This is a really odd story amidst a time of odd news. Okay, every day we get some really weird stuff that people say. This guy may have taken the cake. His name is Jay Jones, and he's running in Virginia for the Attorney General's office. Okay, and there's a push now to get him to quit after some things that he said. There's a chorus of Republicans, you won't be surprised by that, in and out of Virginia who are calling on Jones to drop out, including President Trump and Vice President Vance. The Republican gubernatorial nominee, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, quickly jumped on the news, rolling out an ad tying her opponent, former Representative Abigail Spanberger, who's a Democrat in Congress, to Jones. Jones' opponent, State Attorney General Jason Miyares, released his own ad on Monday asking voters if they could trust Jones to protect their children. And he said, Gary, what the heck did this guy do? Well, he apparently put out a series of texts that apparently disgusted a lot of people. We'll see in a moment if it does discuss you. And in October, there's not a lot of things that can actually cut through. This is one of them, both for the AG race and then up the ballot and down the ballot, said Zach Roday, a Virginia-based Republican strategist who formerly worked with Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin's Spirit of Virginia PAC campaign. This is going to motivate a lot of infrequent voters, he continued. So here again, the political aspect. But let me get to the point of what he said, this Jay Jones.
He called the milkshake a cabinet?
Well, that would have really been terrible. No. But the messages, which were sent in 2022, were first reported by the National Review and later published by the Republican Attorneys General Association. And it said this, quote, 3 people, 2 bullets, Jones said in a text to House Delegate Kerry Coyner, a Republican, about Gilbert, who he was running against. Quote, and this is again what this guy texted, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Wasn't Pol Pot Laos or was it?
Cambodia.
Cambodia, yeah. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot, Jones wrote.
But only 2 bullets.
Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler. And then he continues on to say, spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time, quote unquote, Jones told Coyner. Coyner, in response, told Jones, who at the time did not hold elected office, to stop writing this stuff. The National Review also reported that in a follow-up conversation with Coyner, like you think this got better, Jones suggested that he wished Gilbert's wife could see her children die so that her husband would reconsider his political views on gun violence. Okay, in other words, I wish they would, I think the word were they die in your arms so you could change your point of view on gun violence. Meanwhile, the controversy is threatening to grow. The Virginia Scope reported on Monday that Coyner called a 2020 phone call with Jones in which he said, if a few police officers died, then maybe they would stop killing people. Jones denied making the comments, according to the outlet. Jones apparently has since apologized. Okay, since apologized and said this. No, I want to make sure I get this right. No, he just basically apologized and asked for the forgiveness of people. Now, so the question is this one where you'd say, I'm running for Attorney General. I'm not sure that you don't disqualify yourself. Now, so far, he's not had members of his party who have thrown him out yet. But I got news for you. The more this goes on, that will happen before too long. Abigail Spanberger, who basically stood by him a little bit, is taking some heat as well. I think she's running for Senate. So do you forgive a guy like the guy says, well, that was back when I was younger and I said some really stupid things? Or is that so bad? Where's the threshold? where do you become accountable for that? You know, and that's maybe the big question that's out there for you and for a lot of people in Virginia who are going to have to vote for this guy or not vote for him. Is that enough to disqualify you? In my book, you can say, hey, I'm sorry I said it, but I understand I have to face the consequences. Okay, maybe I don't run. And I have a feeling this guy will drop out before he ever gets a chance to run, because if he does get out there and, well, actually, he's already running. Forgive me. And some of the early voting is already in on that. I forgot about that. So the point is, who votes for this guy? And by the way, on early voting, so now you voted early on this guy based on who you thought he was, and all of a sudden this stuff comes up and you can't take your vote back, which is one of the reasons I think early voting is terrible. I do. I know there are people who disagree with me, and that's fine. But just my own opinion is because if you get up to the moment, everybody votes on the same stuff. Okay, so here you are. Anyway, when we come back, we've got James Sanders join us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, James Sanders is going to be here this morning. And James Sanders is going to talk a little bit about an article that he has about your colleagues are sick of your AI work slop. Work slop and cyber fraud advisory, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK, where it is time for news at 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Gary Sutton Show here on a Tuesday morning. We're so excited because we're here at the home of the Atlantic League champion, New York Revolution, where, by the way, Wednesday night, tomorrow night, 5:30, you come out here and get your picture taken with the Atlantic League Championship trophy. You can watch the 2025 playoff highlights up on the big board. You can hear a question and answer between Darrell Henry and Rick Forney, the manager. You can have a chance to see friends that you saw during the season. Just going to be a really neat night here at the stadium. So plan on coming out. It's a free event. You get out here at 5:30 and have a great time.
Weather should be improving throughout the day tomorrow.
It's supposed to start raining tonight late, and then tomorrow morning a little bit, and then it improves, and by tomorrow night it will be great. And you don't have to worry about what's on the field anyway. So, that's basically inside the concourse and all that stuff. So, and it won't be too bad temperature-wise. So come on out. By the way, our presenting sponsor is Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. And they have offices throughout Pennsylvania and Maryland, and more than 130 attorneys involved in 29 different areas of concentration when it comes to the law and your business. That's exactly right. And they provide innovative and effective representation to a wide range of clients across the 29 fields we talked about. Now, the thing that distinguishes them is they really focus on excellent client service. Their relationships are fantastic, and you're going to meet another one of them today. A true commitment to the community and a reputation, ladies and gentlemen, for results. And therein is what you sign up for, right? Getting a reputation for results and getting good results to help you and your business in all these areas of civil law. Here in York, they're at 100 East Market Street. They're open 9 to 5 daily. You can call them at 717-846-8888 and check them out at barley.com. Please tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. This hour of the Gary Sutton Show at 7 o'clock, brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, located at 1865 North Susquehanna Trail, right here just off the Susquehanna Trail in York, 17404. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. And their phone number is 717-848-4336. So if you're looking for someone to help you in the insurance area, insurance agency that offers coverage for cars and homes and life as well as renters policies, then you're looking for Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, proud sponsor of this hour, the 7 o'clock hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK. With that having been said, we bring in this morning James Sanders, who is our business blogger, with the really great article this morning. Good morning, James. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Doing well, thanks.
It's good to have you aboard today. You sound a little tired. You sound like you're a little down.
No, not at all. I'm just I'm reveling in all that you're sharing about the Revolution and another championship. And,
okay, all right.
That's exciting. No, not down at all.
Well, and if I were you, I'd feel the same way. But I'm really glad that you feel like that, and it just didn't sound like your normal ebullient self. You say
No.
Anyway, this article you sent me, I love this. Your colleagues are sick of your AI work slop. Don't risk your professional reputation on this, was an article by Nina Raymond. Tell me about this. This is really, really good.
Well, it's funny how we have all these technologies and all these things that are supposed to replace jobs and make our lives easier, and voila, human nature takes over again. So this work slop phenomenon is essentially where you have an employee or somebody in your workplace that generates something, a report, a presentation, something work-related, and passes it off as their own.
Yeah.
And gives it to a supervisor or to an underling or whatsoever else coworker, and then that person looks at it and says, "What is this crap?"
Right.
And has to go fix it. And then once they fix it, there's that lost productivity, and that lost productivity costs the company money because that other person now has had to focus their time on fixing what the prior person did as a result of AI. Now, my question for this article or this study that was put out by, I think it was Harvard Business Review, and it was a Stanford-based study. It was, all the people a lot smarter than me pulled this together. I'm curious whether this study is a result of people trying to push a narrative to say save our jobs,
right,
or if this is in fact actually happening. What I'll tell you is I've received a lot of, I won't call it work slop, but AI-generated material, and it's not necessarily from my coworkers, but it's coming from, unfortunately, it's coming from people that are saying, hey, I generated this as legal research. Can you review it and tell me what this looks like? And I'm like, this is going to take me just as long to review and fix as it would be for my template document. So.
Well, listen, it is ironic. It is ironic that people are worried about AI replacing their jobs, and then we come back to who created AI. Oh, it was people, and people have to review this thing now to make sure that it's right. So does AI really solve the problem here on this whole work slop phenomenon, and have we actually created more jobs for human beings, or is this an unnecessary piece right now that the fact that it has to be reviewed by human beings, does that not become a redundancy that, as you said, wastes time and money?
Well, I think at this point in time, because you have this weird dichotomy between those that were kind of educated in the historic traditional sense, really focused on math, English, reading, et cetera, and then analytical skills as they went through society. Now all of a sudden, the question is what are these young kids learning? And as they embrace AI over time, is their critical thinking going to be of a nature that, when they become the bosses and receive what might look like work slop, are they going to be able to pick up on it? I don't know, Gary, over time, and it's a bigger conversation and commentary. But as of right now, you've got people that have been in a trade or a business or a service over time, and they can read something that clearly looks wrong and say this isn't right, and they have to go fix it. The question is, are the people that they're working with, are they going to change course and actually go and do the same thing? You know what's amazing? I'm not so certain that's going to happen.
You and I have a common friend, and he and I were playing golf the other day. And he says to me, he said, did you get the AI thing? Did you check the AI thing? When you do your stuff on the air, he said, do you go check AI? I said, I do, but I also source it a lot of times because I'm not buying it. I'm never quite sure if there's something political in there or a point that someone's trying to instill. I don't know how this stuff gets programmed, but I do, when I'm looking up stuff, AI is the very first thing that comes up. But he totally believes in that stuff. And that's the worry that I have, that people totally believe in this stuff sometimes, and then it's kind of a cheap way out in terms of sourcing. Now, I worry about how true some of these things are that come out. And again, this goes a little bit off the beaten path of work product here and things that are related to what you're doing. And yet at the same time, ChatGPT, Gemini, some of these other things that are being used, I'm not sure that I can totally trust them yet. Is that a legitimate concern that you have?
It's a totally legitimate concern, and whenever I'm working with some of our associates or staff, I always go back to, does your AI tool work for you, or do you work for your AI tool? And take a hard and honest look at that question, and make sure that what you're providing me sits in the former, not the latter. Because if it's the latter, I'm not so certain I want that work product generated because you didn't think through it.
And another way of using it, or are you a tool because you believe totally in AI? That's another part of that whole sentence. You can rearrange the words. But so who's making the work slop right now? The people that do that, are they not able to do the job? Are they just lazy? Are they stupid? Are they what? How would you characterize that?
No, I don't think it's. Well, there's always going to be a percentage of people that take the path of least resistance. So I'm not going to say there's no one out there that's doing it that way. But what I will say is you probably have people that are either trying to impress their superiors or their boss, right? So they say, well, wow, look at how quickly I did this. Look at how quality this work product is, and here we go, we move on, right? I think you got that percentage out there. But I also think you have a certain percentage of people that are truly overwhelmed and are being tasked with a lot of different things.
Right.
And this is a way to get something off their
No,
list.
that's a good point. One of the things in this article that really jumped out at me, it was 2 paragraphs, and it said, work sloppy employees tend to be viewed more negatively by their peers and managers, according to the research. Half of the respondents say they view workers who turn in work slop as less creative, reliable, and capable. And then it says, the term also highlights a growing contradiction between AI's promises of productivity and the reality it's creating. Some reports show that AI is improving productivity, often in coding, while others depict a more complicated story. So, the thing that I see right here is you also have the collision of 2 cultures. The older culture, which is moving off the work stage, and the newer cultures that are coming in. The older culture says, wait a second, there was a way of doing stuff. We actually put the hours in. We spent the time doing this. Okay, we recognize AI. We're trying to figure out a way to incorporate it slightly, but still that kind of model exists. And then the other group comes in and says, oh, AI. Man, we can use this to multitask more, to get things done quicker, to get some information out there. So you have these 2 cultures kind of colliding as well, don't you?
Yep. Oh, it's 100%. They're colliding, and what somebody that is kind of my age, your age, kind of folks that learned in a different manner. What we value and view as important is not necessarily what the younger generation values and views as important. So yes, there's a definite collision, but Gary, I go back to this all the time. It's human nature. Human nature will eventually take over, and what we view as not important and what they view as important, I think they eventually merge over time. So I do think things like this work slop are going to expose those that are, the lazy or pass the buck types of folks, and those that are truly willing to make it and move ahead. They're going to use this as a tool to make their lives better and make it more efficient, but also make more money at it over time.
And the main thing is integrate it with new ideas, integrate it with real thinking, integrate it with quality. But you know what? You're right that man is disposed to always trying to find the easier way to do things, thus why we created factories and machines and all those kind of things, and we're able to cut down on that over the years. And at the end of the day, when we create these things, are they still of high quality, and will they still lead us to real success and real solving of problems and making it in an easier way for us? It's still to be completed on this one, my friend, but I'm sure there'll be some future articles coming up on that as well, right?
Oh, 100%. I've got a few for next week that I'm looking at, and they have all these new terms. I found an article with all these new terms: quiet quitting, quiet whatever, work slop, everything. So stay tuned.
This is one of my favorite, by the way, work slop. It's so far the favorite one that I have that you presented to us. I can't wait till next week. Thanks, James. Always good having you on board, buddy.
Have a good week.
Have a great week. James Sanders here on the Gary Sutton Show. Work slop. What a great title that is. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. Trish Hauser back in town, and we're going to be talking to her next about some things you can do to cut down on, having to pay more money. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
The World Series champions hang on.
Turner to second base. Tommy Edman. Low throw. Freddie Freeman with the scoop. And the ball game is over. Oh, my goodness. Tommy Edman spiked it in the dirt. Freddie Freeman in that Gold Glove form just saves Game 2 for the Dodgers.
The Dodgers weathering a late Philadelphia rally on TBS. LA jumping out to a 4-0 lead, then hanging on to win it 4-3. Shohei Ohtani driving in what proved to be the game-winning run. The series now shifts to Los Angeles for Game 3 as the Dodgers look to return to the NLCS, holding a 2-0 series lead. The Milwaukee Brewers using 3 home runs to defeat the Chicago Cubs 7-3 after the Cubbies put up a 3-spot in the first inning. The Brew Crew scoring 7 unanswered runs. Game 3 Wednesday afternoon at Wrigley Field with the Brewers leading that best-of-5 series 2-0. Now Monday Night Football. Kansas City thought they had the game won after making it 28-24 with 1:45 remaining on ESPN.
Second and goal from the 2. Hunt in for the touchdown.
But Kansas City thought wrong thanks to a bunch of penalties by the Chiefs. The Jaguars marching down the field and scoring the winning TD with just 23 seconds to go. Trevor Lawrence nearly suffered the agony of defeat. He took the snap, he fell down, he stumbled trying to get up, and he somehow still scampered into the end zone for the winning score and the thrill of a come-from-behind victory. Jacksonville improving to 4-1 on the season. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, they fall to 2-3. You can listen and follow the Fox Sports Podcast at foxsports.com or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Frank Lanza.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And this hour, the Gary Sutton Show, being brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, located right there at 1865 North Susquehanna Trail, right here in York, 17404, just off Route 30, by the way. It's a couple feet. Phone her today at 717-848-4336. Open 9 to 5 weekdays, although she will set up appointments now and then. And Trish is back with us this morning, fresh from traveling around the country. She's been out on the West Coast. She's been at the Great Smoky Mountains. She's been all over the place, but she's back home now, and we're so glad to have her back on. Good morning, Trish. How are you?
Well, good morning, Gary. I'm very happy to be home, I have to tell you.
I was looking at pictures. Oh, you were sending me these pictures last night of golf courses and the Smoky Mountains and elk and all kinds of stuff. I did not know, by the way, you played golf, so I'm very impressed by that. We need to get out here and get around to golfing.
I would love that. I'm sure I would learn something if I golfed with you.
There you go. We would have a great time out there on the golf course. But, you know, one of the things that I know you're trying to make sure people are aware of as we get it, and we're not into that colder weather just yet, but guess what? It's just around the corner, making your windows energy efficient, right?
Absolutely. It can make a huge difference in your gas or your electric or your oil bill. And just the comfort level. Outdated windows, they add to your energy bill. So, and you want to stay warm in the winter. Obviously, you can tell somehow I picked something up along the way. I went from being in Arizona, Tucson, to being in the Smoky Mountains. And somewhere between the two weather, I just picked up this cold. But you want to make sure you install storm windows. You want to, look for the Department of Energy. They have like a label that you'll see that says that they're energy efficient. The type of curtains or blinds you use, that makes a huge difference too. I don't know what you all have at your house, but a lot of times people don't think about that when they're putting blinds or putting in the curtains to make sure that they help keep the draft down. Yeah,
the idea of putting that little plastic kind of sheath thing, whatever you want to call it there, really holds back the draft and so forth. And, maybe you caught that cold. Maybe the place you stayed didn't have those kind of drapes. You never know. And it may have just slipped in the window there with the mountains and everything else that you were dealing with. But, when you talk about this, there's so many other things, too, like using weather stripping, right?
Yes, that is good. Adding caulk to windows and sealing any kind of air leaks, especially people that have old houses. I know my office building was built in the early 1900s. And I know that my windows, even when they shut, they're a little older, and I had to put weather stripping in because they're just not matching up.
They talk,
so, you know,
they talk about
on the age of your house.
And sorry to interrupt there, but they also say that foam is an inexpensive is the word I was looking for. Their alternative, right? Foam.
Yes, foam is good. And some people will even just shut their windows and put insulation, like the pink stuff that people use up in their attics, or, you know, any kind of insulation that you just want so that you have a tight seal, you know. And you also, you know, want to remember your doors. A lot of times the weather stripping on your door comes loose or doesn't fit properly.
Yeah.
So around your doors, you need to check that too.
That's a big one. And sometimes you just get to a point where you just got to replace your windows, right? I mean, they're just too old. They're just not working. You can do all you want to do. It ain't going to work at the end of the day. You got to get new ones, right?
Absolutely. And you've probably even seen the ones where there's the double window pane and they start to leak. They have some kind of a leak there, and you see the fog that starts to build up inside. So you know that something needs to be done.
You know, Trish, I often characterize you as the person who is out ahead of stuff. You have lists, you are preventative, you're proactive, and that kind of sounds like what we talk about each week, right? To make sure you're getting out ahead of this stuff, save yourself some money, save yourself some trouble in the long run by doing things out in front before we get to the problem, right?
Absolutely. It's just like your golf game, right? All those things you do to make that better.
And sometimes it doesn't matter, you know. But that's a whole different thing. It does matter here, and it does matter that you get to the right insurance agent, and that could be Trish Hauser, State Farm insurance agent. I'll tell you what, Trish is just a lovely person, but more importantly, she's knowledgeable about all these kind of areas, like offering coverage for your cars, your homes, your life, as well as the renters policies that are out there. And she's willing to, you know, share time with you, answer your questions, get you out in front with some of the tips like she has here every Tuesday morning, and let you know that there are ways to save money, there's ways to get yourself protected, and there's ways to find peace of mind. Give her a call today at 717-848-4336. Open 9 to 5 weekdays, but never afraid to make an appointment. Right, Trish?
Absolutely. We will definitely accommodate your schedule.
Trish, welcome back. Great to have you back in town. And thanks for all you do for people right now in the way of providing a better way of life for people through the insurance for cars, homes, life, and renters policies, and so much more. Trish Hauser, State Farm insurance agent, proud sponsor of this hour. Trish, always good to have you aboard. We look forward to next Tuesday with you. And have a wonderful rest of the week. Get rid of that cold, okay?
Thanks, Gary. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Trish. Take care. Trish Hauser, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Just a great part of our community in helping people out all the time. Well, what's going on in Harrisburg with regard to the budget? Nothing. Or maybe something. We're going to find out from Mike Jones, state representative for the 93rd Legislative District, when he joins us next, right here on the Gary Sutton Show at 7:30. welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. That used to be the theme song for a show on our previous station, Mark. Clark, what was it, a financial guy in the afternoon?
Yeah, what was his name?
Clark something.
Griswold.
Yeah, well, I can't remember his name. Clark, but whatever it was, this was the theme show, which I hated, by the way.
Didn't like this song?
I didn't like this song. No.
It's on that list.
And yeah, so it's on that list. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show, 7:35 here on a Tuesday morning.
Clark Howard.
Yeah, Clark Howard. That was it. Yeah, Clark Howard. So anyway, welcome back. We are now, and ladies and gentlemen, we got to be proud, right? We are now the only state in the country, Michigan settled theirs, that does not have a budget. The only state in the country that does not have a budget. Got to be proud, huh? Anyway, we welcome in this morning Mike Jones, state representative for the 93rd Legislative District. Mike, we're number one, just in the wrong way, right? Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, sadly, when we're number one, it's typically in the wrong way, especially if you're talking about economic policy.
Oh, I'm telling you, what's going on here? Give us the inside scoop of why this is happening. I saw the governor come out yesterday and basically said, he's saying the legislature's only worked for like 29 days. He said, I put this budget out in January. You've only had 29 session days. We've got $11 billion sitting in state surplus right now. It shouldn't be that hard. My budget is balanced. It cuts taxes. It makes important investments. And it's long past time for the state Senate to come back to work, put 26 votes together and send a package to the House that can actually pass the House and reach my desk. That's what the governor had to say. What says Mike Jones this morning, one of those representatives that he's talking about?
Well, the Senate passed a very responsible budget about 2 months ago that all the House Democrats just need to run that. The governor should sign it. It's been sitting there for about 2 months. And I hate to I hate to go the finger-pointing route, but if you don't mind, we actually got an update yesterday, and some of these numbers are even worse than I realized.
Go ahead.
You've got a pretty sophisticated audience, so I think you need to hear the numbers. So when he says we're sitting on 10 to 11 billion,
yep.
10 to 11 billion, that is budget surplus and rainy day fund, the vast majority of which was funded by made possible by federal COVID dollars,
right.
And increased tax revenues during COVID when people were sitting at home spending money and getting stimulus checks. That surplus, and that's comprised of, in round numbers, about $6 billion, and these numbers are very important. We've got about $7-8 billion sitting in the rainy day fund. The surplus was $8 billion just 2 years ago when the governor took over. He's already bled that down to $3 billion. What I was surprised to learn is, so the Senate passed a budget that flatlines it from last year at basically $47.7 billion. Okay, 47.7. However, our revenues collected last year were $44 billion. We're running a $3.5 billion structural deficit, which is very quickly chipping away at that rainy day and that surplus. That's, again, how we already have chipped away just in 2 years of Governor Shapiro. We've already knocked that down by $5 billion. So even with the Senate's fairly responsible budget flatlining from last year, our revenues this year, we don't begin to keep up with. The revenues only increase a piddly $300 million. So we're projected at $44.4 billion. Shapiro, the governor, projects that at 45.6. So there's debate between the independent fiscal office and the governor, 44 to 45.5 billion. That's still a $2 to $3.5 billion
right.
structural deficit. And that's with the Senate's flatline budget, which would basically eat up all the surplus and leave us only with our rainy day fund. If we were to do what the governor proposed at $52 billion, and we project that through and do the same thing next year,
$7 million deficit.
He will have spent all of the rainy day, all of the surplus, just between this year and next year. And what you need to remember, and I'll take a breath and let you jump in, his main goal, everything he does, is with the intention of running for president. Okay?
Well, so let me ask you this question. So when we look at now, most of us would say, okay, a rainy day fund would be money set aside for emergencies, tornadoes, hurricanes, COVID happens again, or something related, that kind of thing. Am I assuming that that's what that money is set aside for? Because maybe from the governor's standpoint, he said, well, let's spend it. And from other standpoint, they're saying, well, it's a rainy day fund. It's not supposed to be spent. Where are we in between there? Where is that on that whole continuum?
You're 100% correct. It's a rainy day fund is for just as the name implies, when it's raining, some sort of disaster or the more common, COVID was obviously, I hope, a generational kind of thing. But typically it would be, to fund government through a recession when your revenues are down. Recession, which we're way overdue for a recession. I hope we don't get one. I'm glad President Trump's in the office helping us avoid that. But you're exactly right. This should be like sitting down, with your wife and saying, hey, let's we've got X amount in savings. Let's spend every last dime of it the next 2 years with no idea as to how we're going to replace it. Now, if you don't mind, I'll tell you what his pipe dream of how, and false narratives as to how we would replace it.
Go ahead.
One is, this is where you then you say, well, what are you going to do when you run out of money? A, he doesn't really care because he wants to tout, all the things he spent money on, like infrastructure and education and that sort of thing. By the way, a government investment is largely an oxymoron. It's virtually impossible for the government to make investments. You could debate a couple of things like infrastructure.
Well, if anybody ever listens to my show, Mike, the word when the government uses the word investment, I bristle every time. If I want to do investment, I'll do it myself through my financial help. Thank you very much. I don't need the government to invest for me. That is a cheap way out. You're spending money. Explain to me why we need to spend that money, and then let me kind of decide on that through my representatives. Thank you very much.
Amen to that. It's the same thing with grants. Hey, the state gave us a $70,000 grant. No, they didn't. You sent $100,000 to Harrisburg, and they sent $70 back to York County and want you to thank them for doing it. In any event, so he, to some extent, I don't think he really cares because his eye is on the presidential prize. The other answer, this is where they then start to talk about legalizing marijuana. Okay, well, the problem with that is I met with some folks from that industry just the other day, and whether you support or don't support recreational, you're talking maybe an increase of about $400 million in tax revenue. That doesn't begin to keep pace with the spending that we're on. He's proposing a 9% one-year increase versus last year. We've been averaging 6% a year. So we're increasing spending by the billions. Marijuana, and of course, there's a whole lot of reasons. First and foremost, it's not legal, so you can't assume that. And there's a lot of arguments on that, but it doesn't generate the money. And the way the bill they passed would have the Democrats in the House passed a legalization bill that would have us build an entire new network of state stores run by the state. That would lose money for 2 or 3 years. As I said on the House floor when they ran it, I said only the state of Pennsylvania, people have been selling weed for, 50, 80, 100 years. Only the state of Pennsylvania could have a monopoly on weed sales and figure out how to lose money doing it. And then you'll get to games of skill. Well, the tax rates they want to put on games of skill, Gary, I just talked to Tavern owner the other day. A lot of these guys are just going to pull the machines because they're not going to make any money at it, nor is there nearly enough revenue there to keep up with spending. So what happens? Either the governor passes it along and it's somebody else's problem and we have to make really serious cuts 2-3 years down the road, or the more likely scenario, then they're going to say we have to raise taxes. So, and then that pushes more people, more businesses, more young people out of Pennsylvania, and we continue to get older, smaller, and poorer, which is the drum I've been beating pretty much since I've been in office.
It's ironic to me, Mike. We're talking with Mike Jones, state representative from the 93rd Legislative District here this morning. It's ironic to me. I remember years ago we were pushing the idea of gambling, but then we said, but the money will help seniors. Now we're going to push the ideas of, gaming in bars and local clubs and so forth. Oh, yeah, and marijuana, we're going to do that. Isn't that a wonderful thing on which to build our tax revenue to help people in the state of Pennsylvania? I get a kick out of what people are willing to go to say, oh, yeah, we're going to build on those things. It's like building your house on a trash dump, in my opinion.
Exactly right.
My thought, yeah.
Well, no, go look at Atlantic City, and go down to Atlantic City, and just see how wonderful all of that gaming revenue, all the great things that it has done for Atlantic City. And, of course, I'm being sarcastic. Atlantic City, for the most part, is somewhere between a dump and a ghetto.
Yeah.
Because how do they keep the lights on in all those buildings? It's not by putting money into the economy. It's by the net. They're taking money out. That's what that's what they're in business for. And I'm not blaming them. I'm a capitalist and all of that. But it's a pipe dream.
Well, let me ask you this question in the last 3 minutes, Mike.
Sure.
So, what's going to settle this thing? I mean, first of all, is there a sense of shame anywhere in Harrisburg about this? That the last place in the state, budget-wise, I hear everybody say, "Well, we're hanging on to our side. We're hanging on to our side." And yet, at the same time, the job is to come up with policy that's going to help all Pennsylvanians, and Pennsylvanians are going to start suffering if they're not already from this. And so, is there a sense of shame up there anywhere anymore? But more importantly, what's going to solve this thing in the long run, in your opinion?
I don't see a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. Now, keep in mind, we're not, and again, I hate, I sort of cringe because if I was listening to myself, I'd be saying this sounds like a bunch of excuses. But the political reality is that the majority controls everything, okay? So the House Republicans, which I am, we're in a majority by only one seat, but it might as well be 100 seats. So nothing gets run until the House Democrats decide they want to run it. Matt Bradford's the leader of the Democrats. He's getting pressure from the left wing of his party. That's what's the biggest single holdup. I was told the other day, Shapiro, the governor, I should say, at this point, will sign probably anything they put in front of him. And then conversely, you can't, it's hard to blame Senate Democrats because the Republicans have the majority in the Senate. So I suspect what will happen is, he wanted to spend $52 billion. The Senate Republicans passed at 47.7. We'll probably land at 49 and kick the can down the road a little further, maybe 50. Now, but the other thing we don't talk about, though, and I'm guilty of this sometimes, is we talk about the dollars, but there's underlying policy issues at play here as well. So we're tight on time, but for example, first of all, very quickly, one place I would find some money is I would quit sending money to Pitt, Penn State, and Temple. We don't send it to York College or any others. We already have a state network of universities. Right. We get about $550 million, maybe pushing $600 million by now. We give Pitt, Penn State, and Temple, which for all intents and purposes are private universities, with combined endowments of $10 billion, paying James Franklin $8.5 million a year, by the way, to lose football games to 0-14. We give them 650-ish, round numbers, $1 million. That there's no need for that. If you want to invest in college, invest in college. We're not here to fund. They're basically private universities in reality. But there's underlying policy issues. The Dems are trying to kill charter schools because the teachers' unions don't want any competition. And lastly, there's a lot of things we could talk about, but speaking for myself, and I really do wish I was at the negotiating table because I think this is an area where a guy like me with business background could add some value. I would be willing to spend a little more, not because it's responsible, but the negotiation I would like to see occur is we'll give the Dems a little more money near term if they give us some policy wins on the business side, specifically regulatory reform. Get Department of Environmental Protection and PennDOT out of businesses' way so we invest money here, so businesses stay here, so we keep our young people here, and we start growing the economy and growing the revenue. Our tax policy, and especially regulatory and litigious, everybody, it's a very litigious state, a lot of lawsuits. If we could rein that in, we should be an economic powerhouse, unleash all the energy that we have. Yeah. I'd be willing to spend $1 billion that we shouldn't spend if we got major policy wins, which would more than replace that revenue over time. But Mike, I don't know that people are thinking that way.
You just set us up for another day's conversation, my friend. But thank you for taking time this morning to get inside some of the numbers and give us some of the issues that are out there. Always appreciate it, and looking forward to talking to you again soon, Mike. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and real quick, Gary, if anybody wants those numbers, reach out to me on Facebook or shoot me an email, mjones@pahousegop.com, and I'll get you the numbers.
mjones@pa.
The numbers are important here.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Thanks, Gary. I want to deal with those. So thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Mike Jones, 93rd Legislative District. You just Google it and you can get in there and you get all the information you need to get from his perspective. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 750. Conversely, I love this. Anything Phil Collins, I'm pretty much.
I always like this song.
I did too.
You don't hear it much anymore. But
yeah, good song. What was the name of the song?
Two Hearts.
Two Hearts. I was thinking One Heart, but there's two.
Always reminds me. It sounded kind of 60-ish.
Yeah.
1960s.
Yeah, it did. It was a very nice song. And he's got that. Is that a voiceover? Is that just what is the?
They double it.
Doubling, yeah. And he was very good at that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he sang with Genesis and then his individual hits there. Yeah.
Yep.
Former New York Jets quarterback turned NFL analyst Mark Sanchez now faces a felony charge after a stabbing incident. So it went from misdemeanor to felony charge Mark. In Indianapolis. Now, Sanchez, who was in town to do a game, was arrested Saturday and charged with 3 misdemeanors, was also now charged with level 5 felony battery Monday, per authorities. A level 5 felony battery charge, in case you don't know what that is, and I didn't, can be applied to the case of serious bodily injury to another person. The charge can carry a 1 to 6 year sentence and a $100,000 fine. Okay, or excuse me, a $10,000 fine, forgive me. Okay, now Sanchez is accused of attacking a 69-year-old truck driver in an Indianapolis alley. The man, fearing for his life, reportedly stabbed Sanchez multiple times to stop the alleged attack. While there was some uncertainty over what happened initially, security cameras at the scene reportedly align closely with the story the alleged victim told police. The 69-year-old man, who was identified in police reports as PT, arrived at the Westin Hotel to exchange cooking oil from the establishment. When he arrived, PT claimed that Sanchez said PT could not be there. Sanchez then allegedly followed the driver, eventually preventing him from reaching his cell phone. The situation escalated to the point of physical danger, causing PT, the driver, to pull out pepper spray and use it on Sanchez. The former quarterback was phased for only a moment and then allegedly attacked PT. Fearing for his life, PT then took out a knife and stabbed Sanchez a few times. Sanchez allegedly continued the assault until he was stabbed one more time. Sanchez then reportedly ran off. He was later found at a nearby bar. Both men were hospitalized. Despite being stabbed, Sanchez is the one facing charges for the incident. Graphic images of the alleged victim circulated on social media Sunday. Those images appear to show serious bodily harm to the alleged victim, this PT guy, which may have led to the level 5 felony being applied. I think you said he got stabbed in the face at some point in time. While Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears did not confirm every single detail in the alleged attack, he did bring up the serious injuries sustained by the driver. Mears also touched on the absurd escalation of the incident, saying it started with people fighting over a parking space.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Well, he's right.
He said, we're literally talking about people fighting over a parking space. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable, said the Indianapolis police chief, Chris Bailey.
It's just crazy.
The man that Sanchez allegedly attacked has since filed a lawsuit against both him and Fox, according to both TMZ and CBS 4 Indy's Max Lewis. He is suing Sanchez for assault and battery and Fox for negligent hiring, retention, and supervision. He is seeking an unspecified amount of damages. I doubt if he's going to win much against Fox, but he could win a lot against Sanchez, I think. So we'll see what happens with Sanchez on this, but he's in a heap of trouble right now.
Yeah, I just can't imagine what he always just seemed kind of reasonable person.
Seemed like it, had that demeanor, but again, what you see on TV is maybe not what you're seeing in private life.
No doubt. How about this story? Now, there was when weather happens outside our area, we don't really hear much about it. And then unless it's a big population center, that kind of thing. Well, this tornado hit in an area of North Dakota last summer.
Yes.
I didn't hear anything about it. Did you hear anything about this?
No.
Right. You're going to
But it was North Dakota.
Right. That's exactly right. And so why are we hearing about it now? Because apparently it was a rare EF5.
The tornado in Enderlin, North Dakota, June the 20th, has been upgraded by the National Weather Service to an EF5, the most intense there is on the enhanced Vegeta scale, and the first to hit the U.S. in 12 years. 3 people died. Newly released damage analysis estimates the tornado's winds at over 210 miles per hour. That as it passed over train tracks, tipping over cars fully loaded with grain and throwing an empty tanker more than 475 feet away. A farmstead was swept clean to the foundation. The last EF5 reported in the U.S. was in Moore, Oklahoma in May 2013. The one in North Dakota is the 60th since 1950. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was in North Dakota where like 10 people live, and that's maybe why you didn't hear about it. But, it's still a pretty serious stuff. Do want to remind you, by the way, this hour has been brought to you by Trish Hauser, State Farm Insurance Agent, 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York, 17404. And you can phone her at 717-848-4336. She majors in areas like coverage for cars and homes and renters policies and life. Yeah, she takes care of all that. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to getting out in front of problems before they happen, Trish Hauser is as good as you're going to find. I can tell you that from experience, and I can tell you, give her a call today, 717-848-4336, open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at 1865 North Susquehanna Trail right here in York, the proud sponsor of the 7 o'clock hour of the Gary Sutton Show. Jamie Norpel and Eugene DePasquale out next here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it's time for news. It's 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. Yes, it is the final hour here on a Tuesday morning. It has such a finality to it, doesn't it? But I am Gary Sutton, and welcome to the show here on WOYK. And it's all brought to you by Barley Snyder, attorneys at law. You're going to meet one of their attorneys again this hour here on the Gary Sutton Show. But, you know, they have offices throughout Pennsylvania and Maryland. 130-plus attorneys. They provide innovative and effective representation to a wide range of clients across 29 different fields, ladies and gentlemen. The thing that really stands out about them, they distinguish themselves by, first of all, they focus on excellent client service. And then a commitment to the community, a commitment to helping the community. And finally, and this is really key, a reputation for results. Here in York, you can call them at 717-846-8888. You can check them out at the website at barley.com. They're open 9 to 5 weekdays here in York. And again, they're right there at 100 East Market Street in York. And you could stop by and see them. But call, check the website first at barley.com. And you'll be meeting one of those lawyers later on here in the hour. This hour, by the way, specific hour brought to you by Your Computer. That's exactly right. YourComputer.net. You can find them, or you can also find them at YourDigitalBodyguard.com. And, you know, one of the things that they do is they want to make sure they kind of have your back when it comes to all the ways that people can kind of breach that cybersecurity nowadays. Yeah, the people get in there with all those different things that are so bad from, and they help you with data backup and recovery, network security solutions, technical support, managed detection and response, dark web monitoring, antivirus. They help you with all those kind of things and many, many more. Your Computer, because it feels good to have peace of mind. You'll be talking to Walt Oakham a little bit later on in the show here too, as well. But this hour, I want to remind you of one other thing, one other little thing, and this is very important. Tomorrow night, if you want to stop down here at the stadium starting at 5:30, they're going to have a championship celebration. Oh, yeah. Championship celebration for the Atlantic League champions, second straight year, 5th overall. They have never lost a championship. We're talking about the York Revolution. And tomorrow night, you can toast the back-to-back titles while you're down here. You can get a photo op with the championship trophy that'll be sitting out here. You can watch the 2025 playoff run highlights on the big board. Oh, yeah. How about that? And there's a question and answer period with Darrell Henry and Rick Forney, the manager of the Revs. So if you want to kind of, they won it on the road. If you want to kind of have a chance to celebrate it back home here, this is a great chance to do it tomorrow night, 5:30. It is a free celebration, as I understand it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The championship celebration for the 2025 Atlantic League champion York Revolution, right here at the stadium where we broadcast from. We won't be right here in our booth during that time. But
we don't have any bases or home plate or any grass.
Nothing like that. But we do have, a nice little place here that we broadcast from. As you look at the front of the stadium, it's the front right door.
It's not home plate, but it is
it's home for us, our home here during the season and out of the season. In fact, we'll continue to work here all year round, as long as they'll have us.
It's a little lonely in the winter.
It is a little lonely sometime in the winter, but nevertheless, we have bright nights coming up later on here too. And of course, we have the Halloween parade that the Revs are involved with. That's going to be happening here toward the end of the month. So all of that, but tomorrow night, the championship celebration at 5:30. So enough said on that. Let's see, did I miss anything? No, but I did miss Jamie Norpel. We haven't talked to her since last week, and she sat in for me last week, and she'll be doing it again here down the line in November, but that's for another day. But she joins us this morning. She's the head of the York County Safety Collab. Good morning, Jamie. How are you this morning?
Good morning. You allowed me back on the air. I must not have done too terribly last week.
You did great. You really did great. In fact, I thought it was a note of disappointment by some people when I got back on. So I just, you must have done really well. So I said, never 2 days in a row. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to put my life on the line. But no, you did, in all seriousness, you did a great job last week. I heard some of it, and it was really good. It's not easy to do. People think this is an easy job to do, and I can tell you after about 6,800 shows, it always has challenges. You always have to respect it. But the great part about it is you get to talk to great people, you get to listen to people, you get to think, use your brain if you want to, and it's a lot of fun. So, what was your experience last week? How did you?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and if it wasn't for Mark, I mean, Mark was just so helpful. He has so many things to click over there.
Oh yeah.
It's really quite an orchestration behind the scenes, delicate process that you got, and it's so timely. I mean, you literally have to time it down to a millisecond. So I appreciate the behind the scenes opportunity to see how radio works at the Rev Stadium for you guys. But also, Gary, why do you like jobs that you can't go to the bathroom whenever you want? Are you ever going to have a job with a little bit of freedom?
No, I'm afraid not. But the nice thing about our job is the bathrooms are across the other entrance, across the Brooks Robinson Plaza, so we get a walk-in as well. See, we look at it from the positive. We're always looking at the glass half full around here. We always look at the positive. And, there's nothing that makes you feel better than in the wintertime when it's about 25 degrees out, walking across that plaza over to the other side through snow, sleet, rain, gloom of night, and to visit the appropriate place. So, yeah. No, but we don't mind that because we are pioneers. Someone's got to hold the grass down on the path here, and that's what Mark and I think we do every day.
Yeah, again, thank you so much. I really did have fun. I was nervous about the mental energy and the exhaustion of having to be on air, 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was fun. Again, Mark made it fun, and the guests that you have on are just really interesting, and they all were very welcoming. So you've created quite a culture there. So thank you for being in New York. I think it's a great asset to our community.
Thank you. And so we've been talking about a lot of things lately, obviously with the shootings. I was playing golf yesterday. I was in the cart with the Sheriff Rich Kuleber, and we were playing over at Lancaster Country Club. And I was asking him about how the department operates, what time he gets in, what are the things you have to do. He's telling me about the 111 people underneath him and the 8 paralegals. And I was I'm always interested when I have a resource there that I can kind of tap into. And so you're that for us every Tuesday morning here for the York County Safety Club. What do you have going on today?
Well, I thought it interesting. So recently, the UPMC transcripts were released, and both YDR, so YDR and New York Dispatch both wrote articles on them. And so I was reading them yesterday morning, and it really got me thinking about our first responders and the 911 dispatchers that I think, as shown through the transcripts and those 2 articles, did a really good job keeping people calm, explaining to them what their options were, and then talking them through the most scary situation of their entire lives. That's something that, so the director over at the 911 Dispatch Center was kind enough to give me a tour, and I got to go through and kind of learn a little bit more about what they do there. One of the challenging things about their jobs that I don't think people fully appreciate is you get these calls all day long, and you help people from anything, from calling on their neighbor and trying to contact the police to this active shooter situation, and then they hang up the phone, and that's it. There's no follow-through. There's no write-up. You never truly understand what happens to the people after you get off the call. And so for those people to want to do that job and continue to show up and support people when they are at their most need is really, I think, some unspoken heroes in York County.
Yeah, you look at that. I was reading the transcript the other day, and it was how do I say this? In a very icy way, fascinating to hear all that went in and how people reacted in the moment. Tried to get a handle on what was going on. Went from kind of a general incident to refining it down and scoping in on what was really happening specifically. I mean, that has got to be just absolutely the most frightening thing trying to do your job and yet not sure what you're dealing with, and then getting little pieces and bits and facts along the way to add in until you finally get down to the moment of, oh, here's what we got on our hands right here, and we've not had to deal with this before. How do we now attack it with what we know and adjust to what we don't, right?
Right, and I mean the way that they were responsive and adjusting based off of each individual. And in this case, it was mostly nurses, right, that were calling in. Going anywhere from get out of there as fast as you can to barricade yourself to lay down on the floor and shield yourself to be prepared to fight. That's one thing that so I don't want to disclose which school trained me in this, even though if anybody listens, they know where I was before. But I went through a number of trainings at one of my previous places of employment where we went through a active shooter drill where they pretended where we were just sitting down on the ground like a normal lock-in situation.
Right.
And Gary, it was pretty intense. The fake shooter came in with a pellet gun and went around to all of us hidden underneath our desks and went like pop, 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 like to us, right? No. And it was, for me, it lit a fire under my butt. For me, it was like, okay, I don't want that to happen, so teach me what to do. And the rest of the day was training on how to flee, how to then barricade, and also how to counter. If someone came in and was waving a gun, we literally practiced. I pretended I was a teacher. I was 22 years old and pretending to be a teacher that day. And we grabbed anything from staplers to textbooks and just threw it at the person to practice. So I am very thankful for that opportunity, and I'm hoping that a lot of readers who chose to read those two articles began thinking about, okay, if we have an active shooter in our situation, whether that is a corporation or a business or a school, what are we going to do?
And that's kind of where my head went the other day as I was reading this, which was this, Jamie, that the 60 or so plus people that were there that day, the first responders, what have they learned? And are there changes that are being made within police departments around the county right now due to that kind of incident? And again, no one wants to see that kind of incident. No one wanted to see what happened. No one wanted to see anyone die in that incident, and yet that did happen. But in a general sense, and I don't want to ask specifically what's going on, but in a general sense, are there changes being made now based on that, based on the coordination of all those various agencies at one moment where they collide together and they have to all work together to solve the problem of a shooter or shooters, in this case, one shooter? Is there stuff going on in York County right now to start to address that a little bit?
Yes, there are, but I will say, though, that the main answer is no, and that's mostly because it was handled so efficiently. Because when the officers were there, and I mean, I think the public now can really understand and appreciate the situation and what people went through because of these two articles that were just published, and how quickly law enforcement responded and how well they did work together. So generally, I think this is an example that showcases the professionalism and top-notch tier law enforcement officers that we have here in the county. With that said, one thing that came out of it was that there needs to be more unified training that's trans-jurisdictional across different departments. So there was I reported a number of months ago on the active attack integrated response training, and this is between fire, police, EMS, and the 911 dispatchers, where they go through various situations. It's 2-day training. They hold it usually at local schools, and they go through situations like the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Right.
And they actually simulate it and learn all how to coordinate and work together. And they had 2 of those trainings in the months following the UPMC shooting, and the Safety Club is working on trying to get a kit here in York County alone so we can do more trainings. We share right now with the South Central Task Force, which is with 8 other counties, so it's kind of difficult to get this kit to do this training. But I think it was a really good opportunity for law enforcement to audit themselves to look at what they're working at, and then if there's any room for improvement. Largely, I think, again, they did a good job, but again, they are responding with, we are going to be more collaborative, which I love to hear as the director of the Safety Club, because we're safer together.
Right, safer together. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. JB, where can people go to find out more about the York County Safety Club?
YorkCountySafetyCollab.org, and we are currently revamping our website, so be on the lookout. In the next couple months, we are in the final process of approving our new strategic plan, so hopefully it'll have a fresh look here in the next couple weeks.
YorkCountySafetyCollab.org. Check it out. Great things going on in the community, and again, we all want to be safer together, and that's what it's all about. Jamie, thank you so much, first of all, for hosting last week, and also for the great information here this morning. We always appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Have an awesome week.
You too. Take care. Have a great week. Jamie Norpel right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, we are going to be meeting yet another lawyer here in our Barley Standard Lawyer Moment, Charmaine Nyman, who is with Barley Standard over in Hanover. Yeah, she's going to join us and tell us what she does all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 8:19. Now, the only cellist that I can remember is Yo-Yo Ma. Is that who that is?
That is who that is. Playing Bach's Cello Suite Number 1.
Okay.
He is 70 years old today.
Wow. And just a great cellist. And again, the only one I know, so he's on a short list there. But
other birthdays today. Yeah. Tony Braxton, the singer, 58. Oliver North is 82.
Wow.
And Joy Behar is 83.
There you go. So you got all kinds of wonderful birthday. Say happy birthday to all those people, and happy day to you here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it's 8:24. And I want to welcome in for our Barley Snyder lawyer moment this morning, attorney Charmaine Nyman from Barley Snyder. Now, Charmaine works, I believe, over in the Hanover office of Barley Snyder, but she works in the firm's business, real estate, and finance and creditors' rights practice groups. And she's also part of their food and agribusiness industry group. Charmaine, great to have you in this morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Gary. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you aboard this morning. I always like to hear someone bright and cheery like you on a Tuesday morning. But let's start with your main area of focus, which is business law, especially mergers and acquisitions. You know, a lot of people hear M&A and think of big corporations, but this affects local businesses too, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does. Mergers and acquisitions aren't just for Fortune 500 companies. Here in central Pennsylvania, you've got family-owned businesses, manufacturers, professional service firms. You name it, they're buying, selling, or merging. And my job is to guide them through that entire process, from due diligence and contract negotiation to making sure the deal is structured in a way that protects their interests and sets them up for long-term success.
You know, Charmaine, when I hear you say that, that's a pretty nasty minefield to have to go through sometimes, isn't it? I mean, and someone who knows what they're talking about, paying attention to the details, making sure that they get you through that trail. It's kind of like following the yellow brick road with some detours, but you get them back up on the main road all the time, right?
Yes, it can be very tedious and sometimes a lengthy process, but we are here every step of the way, and we do whatever we can to assist our clients to make it as smooth of a transition as possible.
Now, beyond mergers and acquisitions, you're also helping clients with everyday business needs, things like, entity formation and shareholder agreements, right?
That's right. I work with a lot of clients from the very beginning of their business journey, choosing the right structure, setting up those operating agreements, drafting those contracts, and we work with them the whole way through to bigger decisions like selling or transitioning the company. It's really about helping a business move forward and adapt to what's coming next while making sure that they're legally protected.
And I understand, Charmaine, you also have a strong background in real estate law. I mean, how does that connect with the business work you do otherwise?
The two often overlap. Businesses might be selling or buying commercial properties. Oftentimes, if they don't own their property, then they're looking to negotiate leases. They're sometimes navigating land development issues that arise. And so having an experience in both areas means I can look at a full picture for the client and not just one piece, and sort of help them navigate both sides.
And I have to think that's a wonderful thing, because clients many times will it's like looking at a jigsaw puzzle and you're missing a whole lot of pieces of that mosaic. You're able to fill that in. But I also know that you're passionate about the food and agriculture industry. That ties back to your roots, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So I grew up on a small family farm up in Clinton County, Pennsylvania. I showed livestock in 4-H. Little fun fact, I even served as the Clinton County Fair Queen in 2015, and so that background gave me a deep appreciation for the agriculture industry, and so now I get to enjoy helping agribusiness clients on the legal and business side of things. So that ranges from supply chain contracts, operational agreements, anything we can do that helps them grow and innovate in that space.
But you don't make anyone refer to you as Your Highness, right?
Absolutely not.
I have a dairy princess, a former dairy princess in my family, and she makes me kiss the ring every day. So that's the reason I had to ask that question, Charmaine. Yeah, exactly. She says, I am a princess, and you will treat me as such. But no, I'm kidding. Anyway, that's fantastic. Now, before we wrap up, I want to mention you're also part of the Barley Snyder's Practice Excellence Champions, and even hold a Lean Six Sigma yellow belt. That's not something you hear about every day in a law office, is it?
No, that's true. Lean Six Sigma is all about process improvement and efficiency. I have a huge passion for that. I've been blessed to get to work with Barley Snyder, the other practice excellence champions of our practice groups. I use those tools to make my practice more effective and always strive to deliver a higher value service to clients. And it is unusual for a lawyer. It might sound that way, and it is, but it can really make a difference in the services that we're delivering. And everyone here at Barley Snyder strides to sort of deliver those higher value services to clients in an efficient and effective manner.
Yeah, 130 plus attorneys practicing excellence in 29 different areas all the time. I'll tell you what great story you have. What a great story Barley Snyder has, but your particular one, growing up on a farm to guiding complex business transactions. That's quite the trail that you followed, quite the story. Thanks so much for joining us today, Charmaine. It's been wonderful having you aboard.
Thank you so much, Gary. It's been a pleasure.
Charmaine, thank you again, and thanks for all the people like Charmaine are doing at Barley Snyder, attorneys at law. Again, here in York, they're at 100 East Market Street, right across Duke Street from the Yorktown Hotel. And you can give them a call, 717-846-8888. But I would suggest go to barley.com first, BARLEY.com, and find out all about the people like Charmaine today who are doing such great work in so many different areas. Charmaine with us here today on the Gary Sutton Show. It's been an honor having you aboard, Charmaine Nyman. And again, from Princess there, or from Queen rather, in the Clinton County Fair, to now being an attorney with Barley Snyder. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Eugene DePasquale joins us, and he's going to talk a little bit about what's happening with the government shutdown and where we go from here, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK this hour, being brought to you by yourcomputer.net. Your Computer, where they are constantly working to help you and be your digital bodyguard. That's exactly right. And Walt Oka will tell you later on in the hour what they're doing to help in that. It feels good to have peace of mind. Give them a call today at 717-739-9675 or go to yourdigitalbodyguard.com or yourcomputer.net to find out more about what they can do for you. WOYK News Times, 8:30. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Paula Abdul. There's a name out of the past. Former Los Angeles Lakers cheerleader. Later on, judge on American Idol and dancer and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
And singer. She had some good stuff.
1989, big year for her.
Yeah, exactly. And so there it is. And Eugene Pasquale is not available this morning. I had forgotten. He had written me a note, and he was out in front of that. But we're looking at some of the other stories this morning. Government shutdown continues, and you got updates and latest on Social Security, flights, and furloughs, according to an article I saw in USA Today. Lawmakers continue to play the blame game, which is really helping out a lot, isn't it? As the federal government shutdown stretches into a new week, and there appears to be no progress on reopening the government stores. House Speaker Mike Johnson and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries appeared on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday. I call it Meet the Depressed, but where they addressed the current status of funding talks on Capitol Hill. Jeffries said the last time he spoke with Republican leaders was in a White House meeting with President Donald Trump in late September. But he said, our view is that we will find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues to reopen the government to actually pass a spending bill that meets the needs of the American people, quote unquote. He said the Democrats have been urging Republicans to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Now, the argument here appears to be over the subsidies a little bit and what subsidies were granted in addition to the Affordable Care Act during COVID and whether or not Republicans want to take those out now from the COVID time. And so there's this argument over where that stands, and we're not quite sure exactly where that is at the moment. Meanwhile, Johnson said it's up to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and his Democratic colleagues to support the Republican-crafted spending bill that passed in the House last month. About 750,000 federal employees ranging from workers at national parks to finance regulators could be furloughed under a shutdown, according to the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the CBO as it's called, withholding about $400 million in daily compensation. Other workers in government services considered essential, such as military members and law enforcement, will continue to work, but won't be paid until a deal is reached. So that's going on. And the Senate is scheduled to vote tomorrow evening on the Republican-backed short-term funding bill that would keep spending at its current level. However, it will likely fail again, given that no additional Democrats have come out and said they would support it since the last vote in the upper chamber. 3 people crossed the lines to vote with Republicans in that one. They were Senators John Fetterman from here in Pennsylvania, Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat from Nevada, and Angus King, an independent of Maine, who caucuses with Democrats. They joined Republicans in voting for the bill to go through, but they would still need another 7, I believe. Or no, not 7. It's less than that, but they'd still need another number of Democrats to come across there. So meanwhile, the House is out of session. The entire work we heard yesterday from Congressman Perry on that and what's happening there. So we'll see what happens. One of the big questions is what happens to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. A lot of people are concerned about that. The Social Security Administration will continue to issue retirement and disability benefits, but will furlough 12% of its staff and pause marketing campaigns, according to the agency's shutdown plan. Payments will likewise continue under the Medicare and Medicaid health programs. And one other thing that people were asking about, will a government shutdown impact my flight? For the most part, no. Air passengers should still be able to continue with their flights during a partial government shutdown. Those workers who screen at airport security checkpoints, give flight clearance, and verify at border control are deemed essential, so they are still required to work. However, a group representing major U.S. airlines warned a partial federal government shutdown could strain American aviation and slow flights as air traffic controllers and security officers would be forced to work without pay, and other functions could be halted. And then you would have various groups maybe protesting, or let's say calling off sick on different days, which has already started to happen a little bit. The system would slow down as a result of that. So there you go. That's the latest update we have right now on the government shutdown. Mark.
You know, for what it's worth, our weather comes from from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And I noticed on the website this morning, it said that even during the shutdown, they would be updating that website.
Right. So there you go. So we have all kinds of things like that going on here at the moment.
It is bathtub day.
Yes.
So maybe don't take a shower today. Maybe take a bath.
Yeah.
On bathtub day. It is LED light day. Think about it. All the items in your home, like your refrigerator has LED light, all kinds of LED lights, saving us energy, providing us light, Christmas.
Yeah.
No?
I also saw a list this morning, a little bit lighter note here. There are things that pretty much everyone would acknowledge as awesome. Tacos. Today is National Taco Day. Naps, puppies or kittens, GPS and coffee. But some stuff isn't as universal, okay? And people online are listing the things that they just don't get the appeal of at all. Okay, that there's some place that apparently the places think that it's appealing and a lot of us don't get it. Let me give you a list of what they're coming up with online. Number one, social places where the music is too loud to talk to anyone.
Okay.
Doesn't have the appeal. When I have to strain to talk to somebody in a conversation at a place like where I'm having dinner or something like that, that's not appealing to me. Turn it down. And I've even asked people before, it's a little bit loud. Could you turn that down? Most people are pretty good about that. And, they're not real hard. Here you go. Being mean, just to seem cool. I haven't seen that too often. Have you? I haven't come across that. But
no.
Where people are mean just to be cool, I don't see that. And I probably wouldn't tolerate it.
Maybe they're mean just to be mean.
Now, here's one. Being mean to animals. You ever seen someone who's mean to animals in a moment?
On occasion.
Yeah, I don't like seeing that at all. Unless it's, of course, a snake, and then you can have at it.
But that's not an animal.
No, that's
reptile,
spawn of hell. That's kind of the way I look at that. But outside of that, I don't want, and even that, I wouldn't want to see somebody just, killing something for the sake of killing or hurting something. Sports betting, also slot machines. Some people think that's very appealing to have those. I don't know. Strip clubs would be another thing. My wife always says, you're driving along and you see something that says a gentleman's club. My wife said, those aren't any gentlemen there. So that's kind of the way she reacts to it. That's not real cool. People blowing money on random stuff just because it's an expensive brand or a celebrity's company. Yeah, I don't see as much of that.
Me neither.
No, I get things because they're needed. Worshiping a celebrity, or worse, an influencer, or even worse than that, how about a politician? People who worship people, I don't have much time for. People are all the same. I bet, you and I both, Mark, have had the privilege of meeting a lot of people in our lifetime, some of whom were very famous. And you know what? After I met them, they're just like us. They just happen to, know a few more people, or they're in front of a few more people, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky enough to have a job that we see some of those benefits. So
here's one.
Yes.
Taylor Swift. Now, there's no hate here at all. I just don't get the hype. I mean, her music is kind of bland and repetitive. And that said, she's a great performer and she's a great businesswoman, which I've said many times before. I just don't get her.
But see, I would take her over like Madonna, for example.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't get either of the music. Right. But if I had to choose one, I'd choose Taylor.
Yeah. Here's another one. People think this is very cool and very, very appealing. Reality TV. I mean, have we gotten to the end of that? I mean, we've seen it all. It's edited to hell. Or
90 Day Fiance. I got to have a little every week.
I don't get it. I just saw one last night
fun.
Where a girl that has Tourette's. Have you seen that? Balin marriage or something like that.
Yeah. It's just an excuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
To highlight something as really an odd kind of
what do you
disease.
think? I mean, tell
would I watch it?
Well, it's a cable channel. I mean, you got to understand.
Well, that's true.
Cable is
Here's something that people
not great.
Here's something that people get upset.
Okay.
They think it's really cool. Competitive eating competitions.
Oh no.
I.e., like the Nathan's hot dog thing. hot dogs and water together, not so good. Trendy water bottles. Everybody's got a trendy water bottle they're carrying with them now, right? And people intensely watching someone else play a video game online or in groups at home, and for the older folks, watching televised golf. How about this one?
All right.
Trendy, but maybe not so much. Pumpkin spice. Anything pumpkin spice this time, you've overdone it. You've lost me. Forget it. So who was that?
If I see that, it was Eugene.
Oh, okay. He was apologizing.
Well, I was glad he called because I had a chance to apologize to him.
Yes,
because I said, "I'm sorry, that was my fault. I didn't see that." So.
We were trying. It's my fault because I didn't tell you, so you would see it.
Anyway,
you lived in a house that Jack built.
So yes. I think at one point when I had called him, he hung up, and I thought, did he hang up, or is it like some sort of malfunction? So that's why I called again. And so,
hey, by the way, if you're in the market for a new car, have you thought about pre-owned? Yeah, a pre-owned car. Jack Giambalvo has 6 different dealerships in the Jack Giambalvo family of dealerships where you can get your next ride. That's right. Hundreds of pre-owned vehicles across 6 locations, from SUVs to trucks to domestics to imports to sedans. They are out there waiting for you right now at GMBalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. And I don't care what you're looking for. They've got the make, they've got the model to fit your lifestyle. I mean, you talk about, listen, I'm saying Giambalvo here, the most trusted name in cars in the community. A name that is synonymous with York, a name that was started by Jack Giambalvo years ago when he started this all out, and John Giambalvo carrying it on now. And when you buy used with Giambalvo, you're going to get free lifetime state safety inspections. How about that? For your car and even other vehicles in your household. Plus, your first oil change is on them. Yep. All the brands you want, hundreds of vehicles to choose from, backed by the community for over 50 years of a name in York that is synonymous with excellence. Jack Giambalvo, family of dealerships. Shop online anytime at GMBalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. And the cool thing about that is they'll tell you where the car is or where the vehicle is and which of the 6 dealerships you can go find it. Yeah, instead of having to hunt around all over the place. No, they want to make your buying and shopping experience the very best. Jack Giambalvo, family of dealerships. Experience the Giambalvo difference today. And by the way, they've always got a little bit of a tip for you. Well, one of the tips right now is, summer heat wears tires faster. So proper tread depth and rotation improve grip, especially on wet upcoming fall roads with all those leaves and stuff like that. Check those tires out right now. Just a reminder and a tip from Jack Giambalvo, family of dealerships. Check them out today for the pre-owned inventory at GMBalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. And please tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. When we come back, Walt Oakham joins us. Your computers are part of your everyday life. They're like breathing, aren't they? Well, how do we make sure that we stay safe? How do we make sure that we get things repaired? What are some of the things that are happening with our computer world? We'll ask Walt Oakham about that when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is the main street of York, and it's all right here on 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK.
Wiggle this around on your tongue. Governor-elect Arnold Schwarzenegger.
50% believe that he has a favorable approval rating. A defeat completely for Gray Davis, but certainly Mr. Schwarzenegger is, as of now, the projected winner.
Yeah, it was on this date 22 years ago, 2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger elected governor of California.
Governor of California.
It was a special recall election to remove Democratic Governor Gray Davis.
Where Sarah Connor lives. Governor of California.
Sarah Connor.
Yeah, Sarah Connor. That was from, Anyway, I was reading a piece. A secretary unknowingly gave a con artist access to her law firm's server room when a total stranger showed up in a Comcast cable shirt and said he was there to audit their cable modem. The guy, part of a now extinct criminal ring, had bought the shirt off eBay. He used this to gain access to several businesses by going inside the office and noting the configuration details and passwords for their firewalls and cable modems. In some cases, they actually built a secure VPN private backdoor they later used to steal data. Now, someone dressed in a utility provider uniform showed up at your office. Would you let him in? Walt Oakham's here this morning from York Computer Repair and YorkComputer.net to talk about that. He's the one that sent me that little article. So, Walt, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Gary. Glad to be here.
Well, you are our digital bodyguard here in York, and that was a great piece you sent me. So if someone shows up in a utility provider uniform at your office, would you let them in? I mean, everybody assumes that hacking is performed by a guy in a hoodie working from some basement somewhere in Russia, but that's not always the case, is it?
Yeah, physical security is definitely something that you should think about.
Yeah, the idea that someone would come in to your office dressed up in a fake costume that looks, reasonable. So what do you have to do here? Talk a little bit about security when it's right there in your face like that.
Yeah, well, if you have important information, such as a busy office where lots of people coming in and out, it's best to have that server room locked and only, the appropriate staff have access to it.
Yeah, the other thing, too, I think is keeping policies, company policies, about how visitors are to come in your building. You got to really be strict on that kind of stuff, don't you? I mean, a sign-in policy, what are you doing here? Maybe call on a phone line, what's your email, what's your address, who do I call to double-check on you? Because you got to be careful. I mean, especially like in your business where you're helping people all the time to try to stay safe in this computerized world. I mean, that's especially true, but, any business, I can't imagine any business letting somebody in without making sure they are who they say they are.
Hey, it happens all the time with people let their guard down, and that's how these security events can happen. So it's important to be educated and know about these types of things, and it always starts with a good education on how to stay safe and how to stay secure in this digital world.
One of the other things is don't use the phone number on the ID card or a phone number provided by the person on site because, again, I mean, they're setting up a narrative there if they're going to be not truthful. And so when you ask those questions and all of a sudden there's no answers forthcoming, or you say, I can't really take those numbers, give me the number I can call, or let me check. I'm going to check right here. I'm going to Google your place. All of a sudden, maybe you see that person heading out the door, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that goes the same with any kind of email that you might get or pop-up that wants you to call a number to resolve an issue. We see that all the time. Go directly to the source. If you think there might be a problem, go directly to the source website and get their phone number from there.
Well, what is the most common thing that people come to you about when it comes to your security? When it comes to your security on your computer and so forth? Is there one that stands out above all the other ones that you have to deal with?
I would say making sure that your antivirus program is up to date, it's working, it's been checked on, and it's updated. We see a lot of people kind of ignore that area. I know it's popping up. I know it told me something last week, but I've been busy and I haven't checked on it. Making sure that your antivirus is kind of running and up to date.
Now, I have a program that I use. I pay like $49 a month with your company because I believe in you guys as being the really only place I have to go for my computer needs here in York. but it's called a YC Device Care, Your Computer Device Care. And this covers a whole range of things. Is that enough for me to do right now to kind of stay safe from a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Along with having your computer protected and maintained and secured there, just like you said earlier, that education part is probably the first line of defense. And that's some of the things that we provide via emails and short videos. If you feel like you're out of the loop or you want to know more, we will provide education on a weekly basis for you.
You know, Walt, you do such a great job over there. And I got to tell you, I'm just always so impressed when I come over. But it's yourcomputer.net or yourdigitalbodyguard.com. And always you can get help at York Computer Repair because you still do all that. But they're located at 2069 Carlisle Road right here in York, 17408. You can give them a call at 717-739-9675. That's 717-739-9675. Open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And one of our clients here on the air just let me know last night, he wanted to know your name and your number, and he's going to be calling over there today. So people are listening, people are reacting, and people are coming to the one place I think they need to come to, which is yourcomputer.net, because it feels good to have peace of mind. Walt, thanks for giving us peace of mind every Tuesday morning here, and I hope people will take advantage by giving you a call at 717-739-9675 or go to yourdigitalbodyguard.com or yourcomputer.net. Either way gets to them, and they're ready to help repair your computer or keep you safe. Walt, an honor to have you on with us every single morning. Thank you so much, and thank you for sponsoring this hour here on the Gary Sutton Show.
A pleasure. Take care, Gary.
An honor, my friend. Take care. Walt Oakham. Check him out today and tell him Gary Sutton proudly sent you to yourcomputer.net. Well, that's just about it for a Tuesday morning, but we are all ready for Wednesday, and we're loaded for bear tomorrow. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to those of you who weighed in today on our text. Thanks to those of you who weighed in today on the Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. Hey, until tomorrow, be safe, okay? Have a great day, and be an angel to someone today who really needs you. I'm Gary Sutton. It's 9 o'clock.